Good evening, welcome to Daytona for round 7 of the Next Gen Racing iRacing League featuring the Legends. Tonight, Daytona round 7, a slightly non-conventional layout of Daytona being used tonight. The NASCAR layout, which is very, very similar to the regular roval or road course that we know so well with the 24 hours of Daytona. But today, an additional chicane thrown in, which is the NASCAR layout. The conventional chicane redesigned recently on the back straight and on the front part of this tri-oval, an additional chicane to slow the cars down. A very, very small bunch of cars, these Legends, on such a very, very large speedway indeed, will make for some thrilling racing. My name's Alex Everett, your commentator here at Crest Autosport, hosting this live stream on Next Gen's Facebook channel, the Crest Autosport's YouTube and Twitch channel. So, how has the season gone so far? Well, this is what the season looks like. 10 round calendar, and we're in round 7 at the moment. We started off all them months ago at Brands Hatch Indy Circuit in Kent. Then we went north to Leicestershire for Donington Park National Circuit. Over the Atlantic for the first of 2 journeys to Connecticut and the Lime Rock Park. Back over to the UK to Chestershire for Alton Park Island Circuit. Southeast we went to the home of British motorsport, the Silverstone Circuit, but the national layout which we know so well with the Tocator. Round 6 was 1 week ago, which was at the Snetterton older layout, the 200 layout, which is basically the outer ring of Snetterton. Today we're at Daytona, and although it says the bike course there, the admins have decided to revert it to the NASCAR course, as it is a bit, I would say, better is probably the simple term for these cars. Next week we're off to Australia for the one and only time, but the fictional circuit, now fictional anyway, of Oran Park, once a circuit in Australia, now demolished, and its legacy lives on iRacing. Similar to Suzuka, where there is a crossover on the circuit. But that track will be very, very interesting indeed in 1 week's time. But next week will be the last of the conventional circuit racing with this Legends series. As for the final 2 rounds, we'll be moving on to oval racing. 2 types of oval racing. Bristol Motor Speedway for the traditional concrete oval that it is, and round 10 will be the dirt oval of the Lanier Speed Park. It is not too late to get involved in this series. Anyone can join. As we can see tonight, there are plenty of new faces tonight, as we'll see very, very shortly. But the person to contact is Jamie Dory, as you can see in the top right there. All you need to do is join Next Gen Racing's Facebook group. To do that, search Next Gen Racing, as it's spelled in the top left there. Search it on Facebook, and you'll find their group. In there, you'll find Jamie Dory and all the other league hosts who host a whole manner of leagues in Next Gen's remit. As well as this Wednesday night Legends series over on Friday nights, Jacko Racing will broadcast the GTE series hosted by Matt Emmons. There's another one to get involved with if you are a Next Gen Racing fan. I'm racing in that as well, so it's worth watching for that reason. The format for these races on the right there is not entirely correct, so we will go through it as it is as of round 2. There will be a qualifying session coming up in just over 5 minutes time, which will be a 10-minute qualifying session, so not much time at all on such a big track like Daytona right now to get your times in. A 15-minute race will follow. We'll go for a quick intermission where we'll come back for another 15-minute race, but there is no qualifying for race 2. It is a top 10 reverse based on the results of race 1. Another intermission in between races 2 and 3, and when we do return for race 3, it will be another 15-minute race, but that race will be a full reverse grid based on the finishing drivers of race 2. And there are 25 drivers in the server right now, so potential full reverse grid of 25 cars if everyone gets it to the end in race 2 coming up a bit later on. But we'll go through the championship standings coming into this round. Mikey Doble has led all season long, and he continues to do so, but his lead somewhat slashed by a few points in the last round, as Bobby Thompson closes in just a little bit. 15 points behind Mikey is Bobby Thompson. former BTCC driver, last season driving in the trade price cars Audi RS3. And back in third place behind Bobby Thompson is Dan Holland, who had a very good meeting at Snetterton, winning the second race. Ollie Peters lost third in the championship during Snetterton last week. It was not his best round, but made up for it in race 3 with a strong second place finish, solidifying his fourth place status in the championship. Matt Allen has been very impressive as well, with 2 top 5 finishes in Snetterton as well. He's won a few races this season as well. He is in 5th place, looking to catch up with Ollie Peters. It's some way to catch up with Ollie, but we'll see how Matt gets on for the rest of the season. Jamie Dory, our league host, in 6th place. William Foyle in 7th place. William Foyle has been one of the most improved drivers of the season, you've got to say. He was well down the order at the start of the season, but he finds himself 7th in the championship with good consistent results and nearly 3 top 10 results last time out. Stephen Daly has been here, thereabouts, but a strong showing at Snetterton, 7th, 5th and 6th, all brilliant positions considering the talent that is in this series. He puts himself into 8th place. Dave Newsham, we mentioned Will being one of the most improved drivers. Weirdly enough, so has Dave Newsham, would you believe, has been flying up the order throughout the season and contending at the top of the table when it comes to times in practice and qualifying, and his race performances are getting much better as well. He's in 9th, and Lee Horn, who missed out last week, is in 10th. So that's the housekeeping over and done with, and as we said, we're at Daytona NASCAR course tonight. And who have we got at the top of our stands? Well, none other than Bobby Thompson at the moment at the top. Would you believe it? But a new face at the top to grace our screens with some very good times. Oliver Turner. Now, don't have much of a background behind Turner's motorsport background, but surely someone new to the series, a force to be reckoned with already in the 51 car by there. Mikey Doble, leader of the championship, in 3rd place, only a 10th behind Bobby Thompson on this very long track indeed. 2 minutes and 19, so qualifying is going to be very tricky. In fact, these drivers have probably only managed to get in 3, maybe 4 if they're lucky, flying laps, so there's really no room for error, and particularly in these cars where the tyres degrade so quickly, it's going to be a real hassle on that oval where the tyres will fade away quite substantially on the oval section of this track. So that'll be what the drivers are battling today. High speeds as well, as we just go on board with Mikey Doble right now. Get the dashboard up 180 kilometers an hour in these tiny cars as we go into the bus stop on the back stretch here. Actually a very good corner there from Mikey Doble and onto the banking, a very steep banking. But in these cars they're very difficult to draft, so it is all about corner exit speed that's going to line up your overtakes. It's very much been that all season long, but with this track being so quick, it is going to be absolutely crucial that you get every meter maximised on this track. Other new faces we've got tonight: Donovan Strauss, one of 2 Americans who have joined the series, Donovan being one of them, and Blaze Crawford, another. Welcome to the series today. Wayne Douglas is another new face, returning after the debut last week. Senan Fielding, who was battling for the lead at one point last week. I think it might have been race 2, so welcome back to Fielding. Chaz Cleland has been a former race winner in this series, has missed quite a few rounds. He attended Brands Hatch and Alton Park and won races in both of those races, I believe. But welcome back to Chaz Cleland, who is related, believe it or not, to John Cleland, so a little bit starstruck right now. Neil Ferrier is a new driver to the field. Also is Aaron Thompson, related to Bobby Thompson, so Bobby bringing the family into what he does so great in sim racing, helping him get to his championship win, presumably. But we're about to go into qualifying, so we'll switch over to the drivers that are certainly worth keeping an eye on in this session, Mikey Doble being one of them. And qualifying starts now, so the drivers will flock out of the pits. And Neil Ferrier there in the Ricky Bobby styled livery there. Not a direct plagiarism of it, but a very similar one nonetheless. Leads the way onto the track for all the drivers. The fairly long pit lane. As he comes into the horseshoe right now, we will do a tour of this track with one of the drivers. I mean, we have been switching it up recently, and it's just who are we going to go on board with for this lap of Daytona today? So technically 15 corners on this circuit today. There's a lot of drivers squabbling for position there. You can see Ollie Peters on the outside of whom I believe is Matt Allen in the 88 machine. Am I right about that? Probably not. It's Mikey Doble actually in the 88 machine. Usually it is Allen who's in the 88, but it is Mikey Doble with the green grille on the front of the car. If we look from the onboard of Mikey Doble, hasn't got anyone in front of him to pull him along in a tow, and probably because these cars aren't highly effective in the draft. Whereas this track, is quite popular for its bump drafting with NASCAR. There's going to be a lot of bump drafting here, but the drafting itself is not highly effective in these cars due to their, well, they're not aerodynamically designed. They're designed as they are, classic cars. You just take them out with the bodywork that they have onto the tracks. So, without further ado, we will do an onboard with Mikey Doble of this track of Daytona, and we're just exiting turn 12, turn 4 as it is known as on the oval, tri-oval of Daytona, into the final chicane, which will introduce a lap. Nice late exit from this chicane to come onto the front stretch alongside the grandstand there, with people finally in the stands. Across the line we go to start his first flying lap at 2 minutes 40 already gone. It's a quarter of the session already gone with just an out lap. Into turn 1 we go. There is a spin up ahead. Let's see if it puts off Mikey. It nearly did, and that was Wayne Douglas going slow there as we come through turn 2 now, up to the Rodriguez International Horseshoe. A lot of drivers going off wide here. Nothing that's going to put off Mikey Doble here today. Up towards turn 4 we go. Flat out left-hander here across turn 4, taking some of the curb but not all of it. Up to turn 5. Left of the track, fades it over to the right through this puff of smoke from a tyre lockup up ahead. Around turn 5 we go, and we are approaching the end of the infield section. Turn 6 here, a long left-hander as we rise up to the tri-oval again. Onto the banking. Keeping it nice and tight on the inside as the gyro camera twists as we feel the full depth of that banking. Round turn 7 and 8 we go. Flattens out onto the back stretch as we approach the bus stop chicane, which will be turns 9 and 10 as well. Not braking nice and late there. Turning into the corner before even braking. Hitting all the curves as we go along, and the driver pulling over to the right there to let Mikey Doble through. Mikey comes on to turn 11 now, which is turn 3 on the speedway. Round we go, approaching turn 12 again now. At this point in the lap, you really do hope that your delta is positive and going upwards rather than backwards. Turn braking into the chicane here. Turn 13 and 14 now. And that, dare I say it, was an absolutely brilliant lap. Comes onto the apron, in fact, to try and get the most out of that lap. Mikey Doble crosses the line, and that will put him provisional pole position at the moment. 0.162 clear of his championship rival Bobby Thompson for the moment. And who else have we got? Stephen Daly coming out the pits to start a brand new flying stint. In fact, it is halfway through the session now, so drivers are choosing to pit after one lap, which is probably the sensible thing to do, as lap 2 anyway, your first flying lap is probably the best your tyres will be on this track. Callum Newsham, son of Dave Newsham, there in 4th place at the moment. He was very impressive in Snetterton last time out. Had a little bit of bad luck along the way with a few incidents here and there, particularly in race 2 and 3. But has shown great potential, has Callum. Oliver Turner, another new driver today. As we mentioned, 2nd in practice, 5th at the moment in qualifying, half a second down. But as we said, all these drivers, if they stay out, they can get about 4 if they're lucky, 3 flying laps in. But with coming into the pits, they actually only get 2 flying laps, so they really can't mess us up on a track that is actually synonymous with track limit 1Xs, they're referred to on iRacing. So if you go off track, you get what's called a 1X penalty, which is an instant point. And that, if you get any of them, which includes off tracks, contact with another car, contact with the wall, losing control of your car, it will abolish your lap. Chaz Cleland hoping to be back with a bang yet again. He was very quick at Alton Park when he returned for round 4 of the season in the very, very cool livery, a matte black style on the rims and the boots there of that car. Dan Holland, who was very, very quick last time out, only 8th at the moment as he starts a new flying lap. Oh, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He completes a lap to go 2nd quickest, just 35 thousandths behind Mikey Doble. That's really not much at all on this speedway. Literally only need to put your foot down or brake the tiniest bit harder and later into a corner to get that time down. But Dan Holland has aborted his lap here to keep his tyres fairly clean for a 1 lap dash. He has to get a wriggle on to be able to make it to the line in time. This is a 2 minutes 20 lap, so drivers crossing the line now will probably be on their final lap, and one of them is there, and that's Mikey Doble with a few drivers behind. Doble starts his final lap here of the session with the 64 car behind of Stephen Daly. There's also the number 8 car behind of Senan Fielding, and that's Chaz Cleland behind him. Bobby Thompson also to look out for. Bobby's pretty much been 1st and 2nd in qualifying all season long. Has not failed to put it on the front row of the grid, I believe. Mikey comes on to the banking here. Let's keep an eye on Bobby Thompson as well. Screaming past the number 9 car of Dan Holland, who had taken his 2nd spot at the beginning of this lap. Lets him back through, and Bobby might be drafting along Dan Holland for this next lap. If they make it to the line in time, that is. Which I'm pretty sure they will, as they're onto the final part of the lap now. Turns 3 and 4 of the speedway. As Bobby Thompson aborts his lap, that'll be it. So that will be not on the front row for Bobby Thompson for once. Dan Holland in the clear at the moment in 2nd place, unless anyone can say otherwise. Stephen Daly might be one of them, as might Callum Newsham. Let's keep an eye on them. So Mikey Doble up here abort his lap as well. So it's all down to Dan Holland. No, it's not. Dan Holland has aborted his lap as well. So this might well be the top 3 already set, unless Stephen Daly has anything to say about it, or anyone else for that matter. Daly comes onto the apron. It must be a decent lap. does improve. Stephen Daly takes provisional pole position at the moment. Brilliant lap from him, which might be his first pole position of the season. Swiping it away from Mikey Doble at the last moments of qualifying here. Chaz Cleland takes 5th, just ahead of Callum Newsham on that final lap. A couple of drivers already aborted their laps. Ollie Peters 4th in the championship, 8th in qualifying at the moment. He will complete this lap. He is just ahead of league host and 6th in the championship, Jamie Dory. Jamie Dory's getting a little bit of a tow from Ollie Peters. It will do a little bit, as we said, but not a great deal in these cars. And a few drivers finishing up their laps now. Peters into the final chicane. Oh, and no, it hasn't gone well at all for Ollie Peters. Lap aborted, and Jamie Dory spins it on the final chicane there. So that will probably be our results for qualifying. Aaron Thompson has finished his lap. Lee Horn, what have we got to see from him? Looks to be the last person out on track at the moment. Lawrence Davey just ahead. And Matt Allen is actually the last person on the track to complete a lap. And Matt Allen, 24th, is somewhat disappointing for him, as Matt is 5th in the championship. This is a big surprise from him. But with being 5th in the championship and putting in some big results all season long, expect him to come through the crowd throughout the race. 26 drivers in the field today. Actually the biggest grid we've had. So Lee Horn will cross the line first. Lawrence Davey has abandoned his lap. Lee comes through and does not move positions. Stays 17th. Matt Allen crosses the line, 24th at the before the lap, and only goes up to 22nd. Not a great qualifying session at all for Matt Allen. But your pole sitter is Stephen Daly for the first time this season, with a blistering lap in the final moments of qualifying there. Qualifying does get you a bonus point, so that's certainly helped Stephen Daly's bid to get further up in the championship. 8th in the championship for Stephen coming into tonight, so that has certainly helped things along. But we'll get the classified results of qualifying up for you very shortly, just before we grid up for race 1 of the night. And here we go. The drivers will grid up, and this will be the grid for race 1 of the night. Stephen Daly qualifies on pole position with Mikey Doble, the championship leader, alongside him in 2nd place. Dan Holland qualifies 3rd with Bobby Thompson. Disappointing for him, 4th place. Chaz Cleland on his return is 5th with Callum Newsham in 6th. Oliver Turner on his debut in 6th with fellow debutant Wayne Douglas in 8th. 9th, Ollie Peters. Donovan Strauss in 10th place. Fielding 11th with Dave Newsham in 12th. 13th for Jamie Dory and Aaron Thompson 14th. Blaze Crawford lines up 15th alongside William Foyle, Lee Horn and Tom Delaney on the 9th row of the grid. 10th row taken up by Lawrence Davey and Jeff Perkins. Ian Crosby and Matt Allen on the 11th row. Gavin Allen and Neil Ferrier. Then on the final row of the grid, Paul Daly and Dave Whitehouse. So we're about to go here at Daytona. This is round 7 of the NXTGEN PowerMax Racing iRacing Legends. Still waiting for a few drivers to line up on the grid. And we'll be away for the first race of the night. And it'll be interesting to see what happens here, as some of the lap quite twisty, so there'll be plenty of overtaking, but then the other half of the track will be a bit of a stalemate between drivers trying to get the best momentum out of corners to get the closer to the competitor ahead, ready for the next time they come through the twisty section. So it'll be quite tactical, this race. And here we go, lights are red. We're about to get underway here at Daytona for race 1 of round 7. We're away, and it's a good start for Stephen Daly at the front there. And up towards turn 1 we come. Doble and Holland slot behind. And into the corner we go. Round turn 2 now. And hanging on to the lead there is Daly as they come away. It's a bad start for Bobby Thompson. He's alongside Chaz Cleland at the moment, who's had a good start. And into the wall, that's number 8 back there. That is Senan Fielding, and that is him. Race over already. Oh, and there's a spin at the back there. That's Douglas, I think. Wayne Douglas has spun. And that's Dave Newsham involved as well. And he gets away back towards the back of the grid. But meanwhile, back at the front, we have got Stephen Daly still out in front with Mikey Doble behind. Dan Holland looking to the outside. Thompson fending away from Chaz Cleland, and there's cars all over the place back here as well. That was Donovan Strauss going wide there, but resumes further down the pack. It's a very, very tricky first lap, as we mentioned indeed. Daly leads away safe and sound. And there's been another crash, and that was Callum Newsham. Just get a replay of that. Callum Newsham alongside William Foyle. Oh, and contact between him and William Foyle. It's hard to judge from that angle. Oh, and nearly collects Lee Horn while he's at it, but let's catch up with the action. Callum Newsham there, down in 16th. There's cars blinking in and out, and they're the front 3, but they stay 1, 2, 3 from where they started. Oh, and there's a big crash back there. I think that was Oliver Turner. Yes, it was. Just get a replay of that when we can. Huge crash into the wall there. So coming through the chicane, it must have been on his own. Oh, hits the curb, and that's it. Once you hit those curbs, that's it. The car's beyond control and resets the pits just in time so nobody collects him. Ruining their race subsequently, and that's Callum Newsham back there getting alongside Dave Newsham, his dad. Behave yourself, son, is probably what going through the airwaves then, but 14th and 13th for the pairing there. He comes through still leading. Very similar liveries for this top 4 here. Most of them Ivy Avenue liveries. Into the horseshoe. Taking very different lines. That game of chess we were mentioning earlier. And further back in the field, this is Donovan Strauss, who went wide at turn 5 earlier on, recovering in 11th at the moment. Jeff Perkis, one of the biggest movers, up 8 places, as has Crawford and William Foyle. Up 9 places now is Lawrence Davey. So they're the ones to keep an eye on. They're the ones that have kept their noses relatively out of trouble so far. Doble in 2nd place there, getting a bit closer to Daly and further away from Holland. He's using all the road to try and get the most out of that Legend Coupe. And unchanged in this top 5, but you've got Jamie Dory here in 6th place, is up 7 places, and most of the guys behind him of Blaze Crawford and William Foyle have gained plenty of positions as well. William Foyle sporting a new livery there, by the looks of it, a white livery. Aaron Thompson looking to catch up with relative Bobby Thompson in 4th place. They're quite a long way gone, the top 5 at the moment. But we mentioned a bad qualifying for Matt Allen. He is up 5 places so far to 17th. Not a bad start to his race. These 5 a little closer together. Dan Holland right in the middle of them. Not a great exit from the chicane. Bobby Thompson had a pretty good run as he comes onto the apron. The apron being the part of tarmac below the white line. He's actually got himself alongside. And Bobby Thompson up the inside, and so is Doble on Daly. But Thompson takes 3rd. Doble might have taken 1st just as Bobby Thompson, his championship rival, gained the position himself. And Doble might well come into the horseshoe as race leader. Yes, he does. And Bobby Thompson now trying the outside of Stephen Daly while Stephen Daly has lost momentum. Thompson a little bit twitchy on the rear end coming out of the horseshoe there, but still maintains the speed as he closes in on Daly and gets it into 2nd place. Daly will still hold the inside coming into turn 5 here though. But Thompson's later on the brakes and gets in back on the racing line. And look at that, Chaz Cleland is now trying a little bit of an undercut on Dan Holland. Not enough to quite make it alongside and competitive for this next corner. But there has been a crash further back in the pack. It is Fielding. We saw had an incident earlier on in the race out on his own towards the back there. Oh, not entirely. Yeah, it looks like just a connection issue. Couldn't quite see what happened there. But Bobby Thompson up to 2nd place with a storming half a lap on this lap to get himself up 2 places and up with his championship rival. Just ahead of him there is 1st place in the championship. Into the bus stop, turns in slightly earlier, taking more off the curb than Mikey Doble, and gained a little bit throughout that corner as well. That are the fine those are the fine measures you need on this track to get the better of your opponent. As we said earlier, draft is not that effective in these cars. You do get a little bit though, as we see Bobby Thompson edge forward towards Mikey Doble, but when he comes out of the draft, there will not be much of a left off. Oh, as we go into the chicane, Thompson slipping it sideways, and a good run coming out the chicane there, and in fact has got a real good run on Mikey Doble as they come across the line. Near photo finish for lap 3 anyway, and Thompson might be edging his way ahead of Mikey Doble in this race right here, right now. What a lap this has been for Bobby Thompson, but Mikey Doble holds the inside and breaks a little later going into the corner. Bobby Thompson will try that undercut. He did so in the chicane earlier on. Oh, and he moves to the outside. Oh, look at that. Chaz Cleland is also trying the inside of Dan Holland and Stephen Daly as Stephen Daly had run wide, and he's now down to 5th place. So a good qualifying session, not necessarily going to waste, but it has not quite paid off so far in the race for Stephen Daly. Oh, Bobby Thompson slingshots it up the inside. Doble did not see that coming, evaded it just to avoid a collision. You have to say, good reactions from Doble, but a very spontaneous move from Thompson, who has put himself in the lead now. This last lap and a half has been exceptional from Bobby Thompson. But with them two slowing each other down, battling, Dan Holland closes in just a little bit. Fine measures, as we said, in these cars on this track. Mikey Doble pushing along Bobby Thompson. Let's just revert away to get a replay of Lawrence Davey as something has happened to him. Closing in on Callum Newsham here. Coming into turn 6. Oh, and just broke way too late and spins it nearly into the path of, I think that was Donovan Strauss, but gets away with it. Oh, look at this. Mikey Doble's dropped places, and we did miss that. We will get a replay of that, and we will return to, actually, tell you what, that one. Nope, that's the wrong one. Right, anyway, we'll get it later. Let's get back with these. And look at this. This is almost like a proper Daytona 500 kind of battle here. Thompson's at the front of them. Doble's pushing him along. despite being championship rivals. And Doble's gone into Chance Cleland, and Cleland spins and collects Stephen Daly, and Doble's got away with that, but further up the front, Dan Holland has got himself ahead of Bobby Thompson. Well, we're going to have to try and get a replay of all of that somehow. Let's just calm down just a little bit, so. Or just steered away from the corner. The momentum took him away and into Chaz Cleland. That might be one for the stewards to look at later, but the battle rages on. It's still the top three going at it. The top three in the championship going at it in the race. Holland heads it at the moment. Doble's lost a little bit of momentum. So Chaz Cleland is out. Well, not out of the race. He's in the pits, presumably getting a tow and a repair. Stephen Daly still dropping back a little bit in 4th place there. So Thompson loses the lead with that battle that was happening earlier on, just half a lap ago. Onto the speedway they go. And Thompson slipped back a little bit from Holland, but further back in the order, William Foyle's having a storming race, up 11 places up to 5th place at the moment. Brilliant for him. He's got the 2 newcomers in the Americans here, Strauss and Crawford, helping each other along. Biggest move at the field so far, though, new driver in Neil Ferrier. He's the one with the 1 delivery. Do excuse me, it wasn't Donovan. But in 11th place at the moment, up 13 places. Brilliant race for him so far. Back towards the front now, just to keep an eye on this battle. This will be a 7-lap race, which is quite a lot in considering the length of this track. Look how close Thompson's getting here, but we nip into the chicane now. This is the view from Thompson. Ahead is Dan Holland, and taking a much deeper line there is Thompson. He did very similar with Mikey Doble a few laps ago. Still has good momentum coming out of the corner. But guarding the apron is Dan Holland. He knows Bobby all too well. And a little nudge at the rear just to shift Holland along. Braking into turn 2. And Thompson takes it to the inside. And I don't think he was hit wide. I don't think he was. I don't think Holland was at all. But that was just a little nudge to let him know, I'm coming, Dan. And Thompson just puts it up the inside. But that has slowed the pair of them in battling with each other. And Doble has caught up with them. Now Doble will be conscious of the championship battle as he tried similar to what Bobby Thompson did to him on Dan Holland, and Holland just sort of shivered a little bit but still held the inside very, very well. Round turn 6. Onto the speedway. And let's see what else is going on further down the field. And William Foyle has had an incident somewhere. He's dropped from 5th to 10th. Just ahead of Neil Ferrier now. Jeff Purkis is ticking along at a fair neck as well. Now, Purkis and Foyle are in reverse grid contention. 10th gets you pole. So Foyle, although he's lost positions from where he was, is still in a good position, as is Jeff Purkis. He's got himself 11 places. He's been one of the big movers of the season. If there was a Forever Forward award, he'd probably be up there. As would Bobby Thompson and Mikey Doble, as they've been the big names in the full reverse grid race at race 3. But they're about to come to the end of lap 6 and will start one more lap to finish off this race. And look how close they are coming into this final complex of the track. And Bobby Thompson is severely quick through that chicane. gets himself a good distance, nearly half a second ahead of Dan Holland as they start the final lap here at Daytona. And there's been a crash further back. Donovan Strauss comes into the chicane. He was running, I believe it was 5th. Oh, and hits the curb. Once you hit that curb, that's it. And whoa, just about avoids. I think that was Blaze Crawford. This top 3. Dan Holland has closed up a little bit on the last few corners. 10th or so. Still plenty to go on this lap. The tyres will be degrading, so mistakes are more probable from these drivers, even though these drivers are professionals in real life, as Doble puts a very professional move up the inside of Holland to take 2nd place in the final moments of this race. He guards the inside going up towards turn 6. And this will slow him down. They won't be able to catch Bobby Thompson, but Doble won't care. This will be just a few points keeping his lead. Dan Holland fights back furiously on the outside. They're side by side on the speedway now. Thompson leads, and he'll be pleased to see what's going on in his mirrors to be taking home another race win here in the Next Gen Legends Series. Win number 7 it'll be if he can get to the line in this position right now. Coming down towards the chicane, side by side between Holland and Doble. Holland has got his nose ahead at the moment. Braking into the corner. Let's get a little bit of a different angle. There we go, into the chicane, and Doble retakes the position, braking much later and cleanly gets ahead. Brilliant move from Doble. Not much of a run out of the corner from Holland either. Might not be too much of a threat on Doble at this point, but there is one more complex to go. The final chicane, the NASCAR chicane. But Thompson has been the man today, putting in some fine moves. But look back there, Dan Holland puts one up the inside and they make contact. Oh my word, that's one for the stewards. Certainly Dan Holland loses his podium in the final corner. Thompson crosses the line to win the race. Doble, 2nd place for him. A dramatic, controversial 2nd place. Stephen Daly from pole position finishes 3rd. He'll be pleased to be on the podium, considering what happened earlier on in the race. Dan Holland in 4th. Only drops 1 place ultimately because of that incident, but 4th nonetheless. Blaze Crawford up 10 places on his debut to finish 5th place. Dave Newsham, a brilliant showing from him, up 6 places to 6th, with his son Callum just behind in 7th. Donovan Strauss in 8th place. Jeff Perkins finishes in 9th. And William Foyle finishes 10th. He'll get reverse grid pole and will start 2nd for... start pole, for the 2nd race. Indeed, in the comments there, Gary has mentioned a brilliant race from Bobby Thompson. Yes, indeed, a brilliant race for Bobby. But before we go away for a break, we will check out that incident. So Holland fairly gets it up the inside, but the two just come together. Holland trying to get to the inside of the next corner, and Doble's still there. Just confirmation that that actually was the case. Oh, it's a very narrow complex, so the two coming together like that, it's potentially inevitable. But it is one for the stewards, not me. And the marshal on the start-finish line there, still waving the checkered flag for Bobby Thompson. A good opening race of the night. And we'll go through the results once everyone has come through for the finish. Which is now. So there we go. There's your classified results of Race 1 here at Daytona. Excuse me, getting rid of that. Yeah, Bobby Thompson takes the win. He was made to work hard for that win, but he made it nonetheless, and that's win number 7 of the season for Mr. Thompson. Mikey Doble takes second place, a very controversial final lap there with the person who finished in fourth. Stephen Daly finished third, having started pole. Dan Holland, the one involved in the incident with Doble, takes fourth in the end. As we said, he only dropped one place, but still dropped it nonetheless. Could have been a second, could have been a third. Crawford finishes fifth on his debut, a good showing of him, just over a tenth ahead of Dave Newsham, who finished just ahead of his son Callum Newsham. Donovan Strauss, a good debut for him as well, finishes 8th. Jeff Perkis comes through in 9th, having gained 11 places to get to the front row of the reverse grid. William Foyle takes 10th place, was running 5th at one point in that race, but drops to 10th, still gets reverse grid pole. Neil Ferrier was the biggest mover of the race with 13 places gained in 11th there. Matt Allen, another big mover, he qualified well down the order as we reported upon in qualifying, finishes 12th, gaining 10 places in that race. Lee Horn finishes 13th, Ian Crosby 14th. Wayne Douglas 15th, Lawrence Davies 16th, Ollie Peters 17th, Aaron Thompson 18th, 19th for Dave Whitehouse, 20th Jamie Dory, Gavin Allen 21st, Chaz Cleland retired in 22nd, Tom Delaney 23rd, Senan Fielding 24th, Oliver Turner 25th, and Paul Daly finishes 26th. That was the opening round of the night. The opening race of the night of round 7 in the championship. We're going away for a quick break. We'll be back very soon with race 2. Don't go away. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports, merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports, merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com. Welcome back to Daytona. Round 7 of the NXTGEN Racing iRacing Legends League Season 20. Here at Daytona, racing the NASCAR road course, very similar to the traditional road course that we know so well with the 24 hours of Daytona, but the NASCAR road course with an additional chicane on the front stretch of this tri-oval speedway in Florida. So, a little bit of housekeeping before we get underway. This is how the season looks and is looking so far throughout for the following 3 rounds after today. Brands Hatch started all them months and weeks ago for the Indy circuit in Kent. Donington Park followed for round 2, with round 3 following at Lime Rock Park. Round 4 was Alton Park. Round 5, Silverstone National Circuit. A week off in between rounds 5 and 6, we resumed with last week's meeting at Snetterton, the 200 layout, which is basically the outer layout of Snetterton. Today, it's not the Daytona bike course, it's the Daytona NASCAR road course. And next week, we head over to Australia for the now fictional Oran Park circuit. Very much looking forward to that one. Round 9 and 10 will both be oval races though, with Bristol Motor Speedway being the first of the 2. The concrete oval, and then the Lanier Speed Park, the dirt oval, for the final round of the championship. 3 different mediums of iRacing used in this championship. One of them being circuit racing, the other being oval racing, and the other dirt oval. The only one that's missing is Rallycross. Now that would have been very interesting in these cars. Jamie Dory is your league host of this championship. You can contact him via the NXTGEN Racing Facebook group. That's where you join if you are a fan or you're looking to participate in any of NXTGEN's leagues. They host leagues on Race Room, iRacing, Gran Turismo, Assetto Corsa Competizione, and many other sims. Wednesday nights on iRacing with NXTGEN Racing are these legends, and then on Friday nights Jacko Racing broadcasts the GTE series hosted by Matt Emmons. Coming up soon we've got race 2, which is another 15-minute race where the grid is formed by the top 10 finishers reversed of the results from race 1. So we're here at Daytona. We look at Ollie Peters and Dave Whitehouse having a bit of pre-race battling, ready to get things underway. And I'll see if I can find out the championship status. Now we can't show the graphics on screen because we're only a little league, we're only a little broadcasting channel, so we haven't quite got those facilities to hand yet. One day we might. And yes, there we go, we have an updated championship table on my screen anyway, so I'll read it out to you. The lead between Thompson and Doble, of course, has been slashed. Now, pending steward reviews after this race, which might see Doble drop a few places if they see what we kind of saw. Not to be subjective or anything, if they find Doble guilty of causing that collision there, it probably will affect the championship results as they are right now. But it all depends if what actually happened was the fault of Hollands or Doble, so we'll find out in due course anyway. But Doble still leads the championship, but only by 11 points now ahead of Bobby Thompson. Holland extends his 3rd place lead over Ollie Peters on 291 points. And there's no change of position for the top 10 after that race. It all closed up a little bit. 6th to 8 are only separated by 8 points. So that's one surely to look out for as the night progresses. William Foyle first to put a time on the board, and I think that was an error in the livery that we saw earlier. He's now on a dark blue livery, which does look much better, may I say. Chaz Clelland will be looking for huge redemption in these next two races, particularly as race 3 is a full reverse grid. So if he doesn't make up too many places in race 2, race 3 will surely pay into his favour if he is further back in the grid. But we might find him coming through the pack like what other drivers did. Neil Ferrier being one of them in the Wonder Bread livery there, the Ricky Bobby styled livery. On a Legends car, not a NASCAR. But moving up 13 places, Ferrier might find himself gaining a few more places in this race. We'll see what happens. Bobby Thompson with yet another win in this series. 7 wins under his belt. He's won 5 more races than Mikey Doble, but is still 11 points behind in the championship. It is just crazy how this championship works with points and that sort of thing. But Bobby being Mr. Win the Race. Can he get himself to 10 before the season is out? That'd be surely impressive, winning a third of the races this season. He's on course to do that after tonight. But Mikey Doble, what can he do? He's doing everything right thus far. He's leading the championship, but he's being slashed considerably at this point with Bobby Thompson clocking up better results. And he tried desperately to hang on to second place. And he did hang on to second place in race 1. But needs to have Thompson in his mirrors rather than in his windscreen. We're about to end practice and we'll go into race 2 very, very shortly. So we'll have to go through this very, very quickly, but this will be the grid for race 2. That doesn't look right to me. Let's try again. That looks more like it. Now, take it away. On pole position is William Foyle, having finished 10th. Jeff Perkins will line up 2nd, with Donovan Strauss 3rd. Callum Newsham in 4th, with his old man in 5th, just behind him. Crawford 6th, Dan Holland 7th. Daly in 8th, with Mikey Doble in 9th. 10th lines up Bobby Thompson, with Neil Ferrier in 11th, Matt Allen 12th. And the rest of the order follows on, but we have to get with the racing now as they're about to get underway. We could have done a few more, but we'll carry on as the timing tower shows us. Neil Ferrier in 11th, Matt Allen 12th, Lee Horn in 13th, with Ian Crosby 14th. But we're about to get underway. The lights are now going to show for the 25 drivers on the grid. One person hasn't made it to the grid in time, but away they go. Will Foyle starts on pole position. I think it was the 3rd place driver who was missing off the grid, but away we go. Callum Newsham tucks to the inside as William Foyle leads them all into turn 1 here at Daytona. Into the corner we go now. Nice and tidy from William Foyle through there so far. And let's just keep an eye on the championship rivals back there. Doble and Thompson coming through. No. Oh, there is one instant at the back there. I think that's Gavin Allen who has lost it at the back there. But through the corner we go, and there's a whole sweep of cars moving it sideways. And I think Mikey Doble might have just lost a few positions there. In fact, yeah, he did. He's lost out to Matt Allen. He's down to 10th. Is down to 10th now. Look at Bobby Thompson go, though. He's already putting one up the inside of Stephen Daly, but could not make it quite complete. Still hangs on to the side. Just looking at Mikey Doble back there. Where is he? He is in 8th place, just behind Thompson. Managed to get ahead of Crawford and Allen, but Foyle still leads the way. In fact, extends a gap over Jeff Purkis. Callum Newsham and Dave Newsham following each other through, 1 place up to 3rd and 4th. Good start for Dan Holland, up 2 places, but up 4 places is Bobby Thompson, who is ahead of Stephen Daly here onto the backstretch. Daly trying the outside, but Thompson has it covered. And look at that, Callum Newsham has moved it up the inside of Jeff Purkis going into the bus stop there. And that's 2nd place there for the young Newsham. And a good run coming out of the corner as we see him gain dramatically on William Foyle on the banking here. He'll move to the outside to try and take the outside as we approach the chicane at the end of the 1st lap. Foyle will have to hang on to the outside, cannot block to the outside. Coming into the corner, Callum Newsham completes a very good move there, but in fact no he doesn't. He goes across the curb and just about hangs on to the car. Everyone evades, but somehow Newsham keeps it going. And speaking of Newshams, Dave passes him, as does Bobby Thompson and Dan Holland and Mikey Doble, who's had a very good run on the 2 ahead of him. Going into turn 1 we go now. Bobby Thompson up the inside of Dave Newsham. Brilliant move up the inside. Dave could do nothing about that. Thompson's up to 3rd already. Holland back to where he finished in race 1 in 4th place. And Doble is looking to get past Dave Newsham with the 2 people he's battling in the championship ahead of him. He has no choice but to make these die-hard moves. Callum Newsham resumes the race after a brief excursion across the curb. A very tall curb. It might have damaged his car a little bit. We're not too sure. Can't quite tell any cosmetic damage. But he's 7th now and carrying on. Foyle still leads from Jeff Purkis, who has got himself back in 2nd. With the demise of Callum Newsham back there. Now, we mentioned Chaz Gleland before the race started. He's already up 10 places with just a lap and a half completed. Brilliant start for Gleland. William Foyle extends his lead again over Jeff Purkis, who was looking a bit precarious at the end of lap 1. Thompson moves to the inside of Jeff Purkis. Has the inside going into the chicane. And pushing him along is Dan Holland. Jeff Purkis probably has nothing to do about he can do about this. He just about holds up Mikey Doble. That will please Bobby Thompson, but Doble will not be pleased. He got held up by the Scooby G in the mystery machine there, but moves to the inside to take the position now of 4th place. Thompson is now already making moves on William Foyle. Now William hung on to 1st place just about, with Newsham going wide. I don't think Thompson's going to do the same. Thompson has barely made a mistake like that, but Will Foyle, credit to him, has got himself back ahead of Thompson, but Thompson likes that undercut coming out of this corner, and he does it straight away. We predicted it like the bookies would. Thompson moves into the lead by half a car's length. And coming up the inside of William Foyle there is Dan Holland, who follows Bobby Thompson through into turn 1. They go now. Foyle has nothing he can do about that. Thompson and Holland take the lead. Brilliant showing from those drivers, and we've had an instant back there. Oh, there's a big instant back there. We will try and catch up with that. It did involve Jamie Dory and Neil Ferrier. Jamie Dory coming into turn 1 here. Oh, and it's a nudge on Lee Horn from Jamie Dory. Oh, and the 2 teammates take each other out, and a few cars with them. Oh, teammates and the host teammates, of all people. Rather unfortunate for them, as Dory and Horn have been 2 of the most promising drivers of the championship. Apart from the notorious 3 that are up here at the moment. And now it's Thompson, Doble and Holland. Let's have a little look further back. Chaz Gleland up to 9th, 13 places gained as he just about gets in front of Wayne Douglas now onto the banking for the 3rd time. What more can Cleland do? Newsham's on the inside of Perkis. And you've got Crawford there, who's doing rather impressive as well, just hanging on to the top 10 at the moment on his debut. But Dave Newsham on the inside will find himself in the top 5. He's got Crawford right behind him, following him through. Crawford has gone wide there, but Crawford hangs on to it, just about kept it off the grass. Very lucky from Crawford there. He had to surrender a few positions as a consequence, but hangs on to the car for now. There's been another incident with Jamie Dory, bad to worse for him, coming through the bus stop chicane. Hits too much of the curb, oh that's it. We saw that earlier, once you hit that curb, that's it. Slams on the brakes just to keep the car stopped in the middle to avoid collecting anyone else. And Dan Holland, something has happened to him. I'm not sure where Bobby Thompson is, but went across the curb there and put it into the wall. Oh dear. Uncharacteristic mistake, sadly, from Holland as he comes away. But now it's between Thompson and Doble. Where is Holland now? Holland's down to 11th place. And that would be a big shame for him. It would be music to the ears of Ollie Peters, who is trying to get back to 3rd in the championship. A long way back, definitely after race 1 there, but Peters has got a little bit of hope in that he's now ahead of Holland. But it's these two going out for another race win. Could this be race number 8 for Thompson, or could it be number 3 for Doble, or could it be race win number 1 for William Foyle, who is not letting these two get away just yet? Chaz Cleland, to mention him again, 5th place, up 17 positions. What a storming drive so far from him. Other big movers off the field. Wayne Douglas up 8 places in that bright blue car, following Jeff Perkis in the Mystery Machine just ahead. Ollie Peters doing well as well, up 7 places. And remember, this is a full reverse grid. So, only of the cars that finish this race, and only 16 are running right now. So it would be a 16 reverse rather than what would have been a potential 25 reverse. So this will make the jobs of Thompson, Doble, Holland, and you've got to put Cleland in there as well to get further up the grid. Matt Allen, we have got to mention him as well, just to keep an eye on these two here. Nothing so far, but Matt Allen started 24th or 22nd, one of them, as he slips sideways, and that's Dave Newsham. Dave Newsham has crashed into the wall. Just get a quick replay of that. And it was Cleland behind him, hits the curb, hits another curb, and could not save it. Cleland just about avoids it very skillfully indeed, but Dave Newsham drops to 11th now. And more, as the car's too damaged, he aborts it. That'll be another retirement. Ah, oh, Dave Newsham out of this race. He was doing so well. Promotes a few drivers up a place, one being Cleland, Allen, Perkis, and most of the field in fact. So we now have only... Actually, I lied earlier. There are 18 still running. There's been an incident again. It's Lawrence Davey behind Jamie Dory there. Oh, spins it into the wall in turn 1 there. That's one you just can't save, where you're turning into the corner and the rear end just gives way more and more as the corner goes on. Thompson and Doble. It's these two again. One would argue, are they getting bored of each other, fighting each other? No, they're absolutely not. But this person has been a revelation in this race. Chaz Cleland up 18 places to 4th place. Matt Allen, we were mentioning him just before we got carried away with Newsham. Started below 20th and is now in 5th for this race. And look at that, Blaze Crawford up the inside of Jeff Perkis. Might try and get Matt Allen in the process. Matt Allen guards the position, but Jeff tucks in behind, doesn't fight too much. Jeff is in a good position. He'll know that, and he'll just want to hang on to that good position at the moment. But Crawford gets it up to 6th place, and is now going to make a move on Matt Allen. These two still close together. William Fall is dropping back a little bit, and in fact might come under trouble from Chaz Cleland sooner or later, with what will probably be 2 laps to go in this race. In fact, if race 1 was anything to go by, being a 7-lap race, this will be 2 laps to go. And Doble is closing in ever so slightly on his championship rival. Further back, Crawford has got himself ahead of Allen. In fact, let's get a replay of that just to see how that happened. Good draft coming off the speedway, and Allen just letting him up the inside. Nice and easy move for the Georgia State driver. And biggest mover of the field was Chaz Cleland. What has happened to Chaz? He's down to 11th place. Let's see. There is a crash reported on the timing system here. And he's going into the chicane. Oh, the one that caught out Dave Newsham ahead of him. The same kind of instant, hitting the curb, and he just spins it around, pushing way too hard. It must have been. Oh, that is such a shame for the driver, who still, even with that spin, has gained more places than anyone. 11 places gained. Ollie Peters has gained 10 places, up to 7th place, and is ahead of Dan Holland, one of his championship rivals. So this is good points for Peters. Allen versus Crawford again. Allen finds the inside coming into the bus stop chicane. Crawford hangs on to it, brakes a little later and stays in front. Stays away from that big sausage curve on the inside, which kicks the rear of the Legends up into the air and loses their balance. And Cleland has had another instance somewhere, and it's going into that back chicane there. Might be losing his rag a little bit with trying to push harder. Oh, and there's been big drama at the front. In fact, while we're looking at that replay, Bobby Thompson has had an instant. What's happened here? Oh, and there is this contact between these two again. Doble carries on, stays in second, does Bobby Thompson. Let's get back with the action as they are on the final lap. That is Chaz Cleland out of the race to confirm. Thompson is just ahead of William Fall here, 1.3 down from Mikey Doble, who may be taking away his 3rd win of the season here, pending steward reviews probably again. Doble will have a big bunch of eyes over him after this race. But it could well be win number 3, unless Bobby Thompson can have anything to say about that. We'll have a look at the instance after the race, just to see, get another set of eyes on, well, another look at it. But William Fall on course for a 3rd place here, a good strong showing from him. Has not won a race yet this season, and his eyes must have lit up when he saw them two come together ahead of him. Now, drivers on the lead, still in the running for this race, 19 cars. I think the timing screen, the timing tower is lying to me quite a bit today, as it's gone from like 20 to 16 to 18. In fact, it might actually be 14. Let's just take... Aaron Thompson's still running. Neil Ferry's still running. Davy's still running. Fielding, Newsham, Crosby, Newsham. So it will be a 21 reverse as it stands. And Dave Newsham will be on pole position. But coming through the final stretch of this lap, Thompson's 2 seconds down, has lost time on this last lap. Doble has been the source of attention in these two races, but will take another win here and extend his lead at the top with this win here. If he can get through this final chicane, the NASCAR chicane, which has claimed a lot of people's races today so far. Through the final corner he goes to win race 2. Mikey Doble wins. Bobby Thompson comes through in second. William Fall will be pleased with that podium place. Matt Allen comes through in fourth. A brilliant comeback in the 2 races for him. Crawford, 5th place. Peters, 11 places gained. Not the biggest gainer of the field. Comes through in 6th. Jeff Perkis in 7th. Daly in 8th. Dan Holland with drama earlier on finishes 9th. Tom Delaney has had a brilliant comeback today. Up 13 places to 10th in that second race there. Brilliant from him. Probably been his best combination of, well, the end certainly wasn't anything to go by, but best combination of finishing position and gaining places throughout the race by Tom Delaney. But what an interesting race we just witnessed there. Now, we'll see if we can go back to the Thompson Doble incident. It doesn't really look like, well, it just looks like they came together from Thompson's angle. Doble trying to stay as close as he can. Oh, they were both close to one another, if you know what I mean. There really wasn't that much. We couldn't really tell if anyone drove across the other, you know. It was, yeah, it might be one of those racing incidents, it might be, but I'm not assured, as I said. We'll let them do their job, and we'll do ours, which is read out the results of this race. Mikey Doble takes win number 3 of the season. Would you believe it, only 3 wins? Thompson takes a well-fought 2nd place with William Fall on the podium, 3rd place. Matt Allen with a good comeback throughout the day today, 4th place for him, with Blaze Crawford having a brilliant debut in 5th there. Ollie Peters, 6th place for him, with Jeff Perkis in 7th. Stephen Daly, 8th, with Dan Holland in 9th. Tom Delaney, biggest mover, 13 places gained, 10th for him. Wayne Douglas in 11th. 12th for David Whitehouse. 13th, Aaron Thompson. 14th, Neil Ferrier. Jamie Dury and Lee Horn, 15th and 16th, coming together earlier on in that race. Davey in 17th, Fielding in 18th place. 19th to Callum Newsham, 20th Ian Crosby, Dave Newsham 21st, and Dave Newsham was last of the finishers, so he'll be pole position for race 3 coming up shortly. Non-finishers were Chaz Cleland, Donovan Strauss, Gavin Allen and Oliver Turner. Well, this has been race 2 of the Next Gen Power Max Racing iRacing Legends here at Daytona. We'll be back very shortly with race 3, the final race of the night. Don't go away. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports, merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports, merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com. Well, welcome back to Daytona for what is Next Gen Racing iRacing League, featuring the Legends, Season 20 of Next Gen's existence, and this is round 7 here at Daytona. My name's Alex Everett, your commentator from Crest Autosport, broadcasting to Crest Autosport's YouTube and Twitch, and of course, Next Gen Racing's Facebook page. This is round 7 of the championship from a 10-round calendar that we're following. We started off all them weeks ago at Brands Hatch Indy, followed by Donington Park National Circuit. Lime Rock Park followed for round 3, with round 4 being Alton Park. Silverstone took us to the halfway point for round 5. Following the halfway point, Snetterton was last week, and this week is Daytona. Next week we're off to Australia for round 8 at Oran Park. But rounds 9 and 10 will both be slightly different, not circuit racing but oval racing, and two different types of ovals. Bristol Motor Speedway, a very short oval but a concrete oval, and round 10 a very small oval yet again but a dirt oval at the Lanier Speed Park. So a thrilling pair of finales we're going to have. To get involved in this league, you need to find the Facebook group hosted by Next Gen Racing. Spell it as how it's spelled in the top left by there. And Wednesday nights are the nights for iRacing Legends. There is another iRacing league in the form of the GTE Grid Engineering Series, broadcasted by Jacko Racing on Friday nights. That's good because I'm also racing in it. and that's one to look out for. But Wednesday nights are very much here with the legends. We've got race 3 coming up very, very soon, a 15-minute race where it is a full reverse grid of the results from race 2, the grid of which we'll go through shortly before the race starts. So, slightly different weather here. Cloudy and a little bit misty here at Daytona to set the scene for race 3 of the night here. And what can we expect? Well, probably more drama, because that's what it's been tonight. But a little bit of a sit rep on the championship. Now, we can't show the graphics on screen. We haven't quite got those facilities to hand just yet. As we said. But Mikey Doble extends his championship lead with that win, and finishing ahead, of course, of Bobby Thompson, extends his lead to 16 points. So it is so close between these two. Fine margins, and they just keep getting closer and coming away from each other. It's very, very thrilling, and it takes one bit of drama for it to close up or just disperse apart, as it has done in many periods this season already. But a win for Doble tonight, a win for Thompson tonight, who will get the 3rd win of the night. I'm sure we'll find out very, very soon. But let's take a look at the cars going around this very, very misty circuit right now of Daytona. I'm struggling to see the cars from this angle. But with this change in weather, slightly lower track temperature from previously, I believe, so it will make the cars, take the cars a little longer to heat up their tyres, but it might make the tyres last a bit longer, so it could be quite an interesting one, this one. Drivers, I'm sure, will probably forget about it by the time they're driving the cars. Just take it to the max, no matter what the conditions, no matter what the car. Certainly the case with many of these drivers on iRacing. But a full reverse grid of the drivers that finished on the lead lap, and I think there were 19 of them, my memory serves me right. So what we see in race 3 is always quite a big, move from the back from the likes of Doble and Holland and Thompson. So we could see it again in this race coming up. Chaz Cleland has had a pretty bad night, but has, in glimpses tonight, particularly in the early parts of the races, shown his real potential. He was up many places and into the top 5 before an incident in the final chicane ended that hope of a good result in race 2. We'll see what he can do in race 3 here. He has Thompson and Doble to follow ahead of him, who, although love moving through the order, will want to keep their noses clean for the sake of their championships. As for other battles in the field for the championship, William Ford moves himself up to 6th place past Jamie Dory in that last race. And Jeff Perkins has moved himself up to 10th ahead of Lee Horn. So a little bit of shuffling in the top 10 for the championship after that race. And now Dan Holland joins Bobby Thompson and Mikey Doble in the 300 club, moving up to 303 points for the season so far. No drop rounds or anything like that. Just score as many points as you can in all the rounds. And we will be going through the grid very, very shortly, just as this practice session ticks over to the final race of the night. As we mentioned, we're broadcasting this every Wednesday, 3 rounds to go after today. Oran Park, Bristol Motor Speedway and Lanier Speed Park. And you can also catch NXTGEN's action on Friday nights with Jacko Racing featuring the GTE series. This week is at the Catalunya circuit. But here is the grid for race 3 of the night. Dave Newsham qualifies on pole, gets himself on pole position ahead of Ian Crosby. Callum Newsham lines up 3rd with Fielding in 4th. Davey in 5th, Lee Horn in 6th. Jamie Dory in 7th with Neil Ferrier in 8th. Aaron Thompson 9th. Dave Whitehouse 10th. Wayne Douglas 11th with Tom Delaney in 12th. 13th for Dan Holland and Stephen Daly. Pole sit up for the first race in 14th. Jeff Burke is 15th with Ollie Peters in 16th. Blaze Crawford, a good night for him so far, 17th with Matt Allen in 18th. William Foyle, 3rd in race 2, is on the grid for 19th in this race. Bobby Thompson, 2nd in the last race, 20th on the grid here. Mikey Doble, 21st. Chaz Cleland, Strauss and Allen follow to make up the DNF finishers in the previous race. 22nd, 23rd and 24th. But we're about to get underway here for race 3 of the night. Lights are red.
Green, green, green.
Away we go. Oh, and it's a big spinny start for Callum Newsham and Lawrence Davey as we get underway down towards turn 1 here in Daytona. Dave Newsham retains the lead going into turn 1. All the cars come through into the corner now. Oh, and there's a nudge up the rear from Dan Holland on the 41 car ahead of him of Aaron Thompson. Oh, and there's a spin back there. Big spin back there. That was Aaron Thompson involved again. And there's the number 16 car of Crawford coming into the horseshoe. We've got to keep an eye on everyone. As Ollie Peters going slow on the infield there. That'll be a slowdown for him, which will concede more places. Now, what has happened to other drives now? 21st back there. Mikey Doble, something might have happened to him as Bobby Thompson is long gone ahead of him. Into 10th already is Thompson, up 10 places. Brilliant start for him. Oh, and there's a contact in front. Tom Delaney and Ferrier are off the circuit there. Oh, that's not Ferrier, that was Tom Delaney and Matt Allen. Oh, Matt Allen, who was having such a good night, off already. Dave Newsham leads away, though, as we go on to the bank in Fielding, who's not had a good night so far. Up 2 places to 2nd. Jamie Dory, the host of this league, up to 3rd. 4 places gained. Wayne Douglas up to 4th. But Thompson at 11 places. What a start for him. He's alongside Ferrier, trying to gain his 12th place of the race. First lap so far. Coming down towards the bus stop chicane. Side by side, and back in front goes Ferrier in the 15 car. No, the 15 car ahead of Thompson. Not entirely sure who that is ahead of Thompson. The timing screen's not telling me. Anyway, Dave Newsham leads away at the front here. Newsham, who hasn't won a race yet this season, would you believe it? Could this be the one? Long way to go, though. Fielding in 2nd, gaining ever so slightly on Newsham there. Oh, and a lock up there for Jamie Dory coming into the chicane. Got to stay away from those curbs. Horn battling with Holland back there. Holland, who's up 8 places already. And we're struggling to see through the mist here at Daytona. And entering the pits is Ollie Peters, a damaged car, and he's got to come in and repair it. What was looking like a fairly decent night for him has not gone to plan. This is Neil Ferrier in the 91 machine. And just ahead, that's Daly against Lee Horn. Thompson hasn't really progressed much in this last lap or so. Something strange going on with my timing, because I'm seeing a different order to what we're seeing on the track itself. Behind Bobby Thompson there's a 15 car of Donovan Strauss, and it says he's in 15th. Very, very strange what's going on here right now. I'm sure it will refresh at some point. We've got Ferrier alongside Lee Horn there, trying the outside, but backs out of it. Thompson right behind in 9th place at the moment. Let's get on board with Thompson. Got a few cars ahead of him that he can gain positions off. Doble isn't too far behind. It says he's in 16th. He actually isn't. Timing screen, something is running horribly wrong with our timing screen, so not getting the actual results. He's only 2 places back from Thompson. Look at that run through the bus stop. He's just taking it better than everyone else today. But Neil Ferrier just ahead, getting a good draft from Lee Horn. Comes to the outside. Thompson is now on the inside and slots back behind. Now Ferrier probably thought, well, Thompson's going to get through everyone today. I'll stay behind him and he can show me the way. Into the chicane we go. And a slight hit the curb from Thompson there. Doble, however, a few places back, just behind the number 15 machine of Strauss. But Thompson now moves his way past Lee Horn and into, I think that's 7th place if our timing screen is correct. Fielding coming through the corner, not gaining on Newsham anymore. It seems that Newsham has broken away, found a little bit more pace in that legend car underneath him. But we got Dan Holland, who we saw in race 1 is one of the quickest guys in the field, trying to plug his way through the crowd. 4th place is his, with Wayne Douglas getting very loose through the horseshoe there, but stays in 5th for now. Dory, the host of this league, with the metallic green rims on that orange car. Quite the combo. Trying to catch up towards Fielding. Our timing screen has sorted its life out. That is Doble right ahead of Strauss there. Gets himself up to 9th place. 12 places gained for Doble now. With Strauss, who, although lost the position then, has gained 13th. He got through the little kerfuffle at the beginning there. And so far, not too many dramas. There's been a few incidents on lap 1. As we've got Lee Horn defending from Mikey Doble now. Doble will have the next gen machine in his way and will want to get past fairly quickly so he can get back up with Bobby Thompson, and he does make it through and into 8th place. He can now set his sights, as we see it now, on Bobby Thompson ahead, who is going to be closing in on the leading packs here. Lee Horn guarding from Jamie Dory guard. Oh, and he's taken a lunge up the inside of Fielding, and Fielding is off again. His luck just will not end. He's back on the track, but Dory just braking way too late there, and he pulls over to wait respectfully for Fielding to re-overtake him. But that is a potential top 3 ruin for them. But there's battling up ahead as Holland is battling with Daly. Daly turns in, but did not expect Thompson to be there and just about avoids him. What a daring move from Thompson, but made it alongside. Daly hangs on to the position though. Thompson couldn't quite complete the move. But back up the inside and back through goes Bobby Thompson here. And into the top 3 already for him. But still side by side is Thompson and Daly. Third is the battle between them. Doble isn't quite keeping up with Thompson now, down in 6th at the moment, with Thompson, who's gained 17 places from the start here in 4 laps. and is now in third place onto the podium again. What could be 3 podiums in a row for Thompson if all goes well so for the rest of the race. But Dave Newsham is doing all he needs to do, leading away at the front. He needs to manage that gap between him and Holland. Now we know Newsham has the raw pace with those front runners, but in the races, just being involved in a few incidents here and there has just not helped him this season at all. Will that luck turn around here right now? We'll find out in the next 6 minutes or so. Daly in 4th place here. A bit of a gap in front of him, a bit of a gap behind him. No one to worry about just yet. But Stephen Daly is one in the top 10, trying to gain positions, has gained positions as the season's gone by. Impressive move up the inside from Mikey Doble on Wayne Douglas then. Just get a replay of that, just to catch it in full glimpse here. Hangs onto the outside, inevitably the inside, and subsequently the inside for the next corner. Well executed move from Mikey Doble to get himself into the top 5. Thompson right on the rear of Holland here. Him and Holland battling in race 1 earlier on. Holland got himself into the lead at 1 point. But they both need to work out if they're going to work together to catch up with Newsham, or if they're just going to go for that position and have it out. With 5 minutes to go in this race, about 3 laps. That's including this one, so really not that much time. Let's see what's going on further back in the pack. Fielding recovering after that incident with Jamie Dory, who's behind him. 11th and 12th for them two at the moment. Can resume their battling and probably make up for what happened earlier. Chaz Cleland, who we thought would move through the order like what he did in race 2, only 13th at the moment. Newsham goes through into the bus stop, has lost a bit of time on this lap to Holland and Thompson. Thompson, who might well be pushing along or encouraging along Holland. By that I mean Holland has got Thompson in his mirrors and is getting a wriggle on. And Daly's doing very well to keep up with these two indeed. And Thompson getting that run on the car ahead. Mighty liner, that slingshot move that we've seen him do many times tonight already into this NASCAR chicane here. Brake turns the car into the first corner, just drifts it into the second corner, but it was a good corner equally by Dan Holland as they start the penultimate lap of the night of the race here. It's still a good run from Thompson. He stays behind Holland. He's using Holland to catch up with Newsham. Now with 2 laps to go, will that happen? Not too sure. But Thompson being ahead of Doble will take it. And there has been an incident further back. It has involved Chaz Cleland on his own out there. So, and it is this chicane again, and it's just pushed a bit too hard and kicks the rear up. Oh, and it just about avoids. I think that was Gavin Allen coming through there. But another race that just hasn't gone Cleland's way today. And what potential was there with what we saw in race 2 and what we've seen in previous races and what we saw in practice and qualifying. But I'm sure Cleland will be back in another race to show us what he can do again. Back with this battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Biggest move of the field so far, Bobby Thompson, but also Donovan Strauss. He's having a wonderful debut here. Not quite the pace of Thompson's, the Hollands and the Dobles, but he has been safe and sound. One of the top 5 best performers today. Plenty of places gained and plenty of decent high scoring positions. If I had to pick a driver of the day, it would be him so far. Within a second now of Dave Newsham. If these cars had DRS, I'm sure it'd be open right now. But they've got one more lap to catch up with Newsham. Newsham will be conscious of this. There has been an incident further back involving Fielding. That's Jamie Dory ahead. Coming through the bus stop here. It's that curb. It is that curb. And once you hit it, that's it. Race over right away for Fielding. Car comes to an immediate halt. They start the final lap. Dave Newsham leads here at Daytona. Nearly a second slower on that last lap. Thompson needs to decide soon if he is going to make a move on Holland or if he's going to stay behind and hope they catch Newsham. Newsham will be... He's been in this situation in real life, so I'm fairly sure they're more nerve-wracking situations than this one right now. But Newsham knows how to win races. He knows what to do at this point, even though he's slower than the cars behind. Thompson with attempting an undercut from underneath Holland there. Safely say, based on that, he is trying for second place now. Into turn 5 they go, and Newsham locks up, but just about hangs on to it, but it's brought them all very close to him. Thompson couldn't quite get the undercut on Holland, but it is crunched up a bit tighter together. Onto the oval we go. Not many more opportunities for an overtake. Newsham leads. This could well be his first win of the season, but also Holland is looking for his 4th. Thompson's looking for his 8th and to extend his championship lead. Holland is looking to catch up with the likes of Thompson and Doble, and so far he is a bit, but let's see what happens in this final chicane here. Into the corner we go. Thompson still behind Holland, not yet going for a move, and look at that run Holland has got on Newsham. This is the perfect opportunity now. Holland will have to take to the inside. Newsham has covered the inside, now tries on the apron, and he's on the apron, on the inside. He probably isn't allowed to make that overtake, and in fact that might have surrendered the position to Bobby Thompson, who's on the outside. Thompson will try the move on Newsham, probably going into this final corner here. Into the chicane we go. Thompson tries the outside. Newsham covers the inside. Thompson tried to get the undercut but couldn't. But into second place he goes. But Dave Newsham is your winner. For the first time this season, would you believe? Wins race 3 here at Daytona. Thompson comes through second again. And Dan Holland third place. He made a gamble, Holland did, and it just didn't quite pay off. He knew if he made that move on Newsham, it probably would have been taken off him. But wow, well done Dave Newsham indeed. He finally has that win he's been waiting for. Newsham fans in the Facebook chat, go mental at this, as your man has come through in first place. Thompson finishing second with his championship rival Mikey Doble in 5th place. That will really tighten things up in the championship. It might well be less than 10 points between them now in the championship. We'll have to report on that on the next live stream in 1 week's time, but wow, what a race we had indeed. So before we go through the final results, this is what we got coming up next week. Round 8 is Oran Park, similar to Suzuka, where there is a crossover, a bridge and tunnel kind of thing, but that is a fictional track in Australia. It was demolished some years ago, and its legacy lives on iRacing. It is a brilliant track for small car racing. It's good for touring cars, and it is going to be good for these legends. Join us in 1 week's time for Oran Park, round 8. And we Probably one of the best rounds of the season, I would say, that one. Plenty of drama, a very difficult track, a very good layout chosen by our hosts, NXTGEN and Jamie Dory. They definitely chose the right variant of Daytona for tonight's racing, certainly. And we'll have the results for race 3 up on your screen very, very shortly. But remember, 1 week's time, Oran Park for round 8, and in 2 days' time on Friday night, tune in to Jacko Racing, Jack Oliphant, brother of Tom Oliphant, I think, maybe not sure. You'll have to confirm to me, but he's our commentator for Friday night GTEs in association with Grid Engineering, and I'm racing in that, so that's why it's worth watching. But here are your results for race 3 here at Daytona for the NXTGEN Legends. Newsham finally gets that win he's been waiting for all season long. Bobby Thompson with a first, a second, and a second tonight. Near perfect night for him, but it was perfect to watch, absolutely. Dan Holland finishes third, with Stephen Daly in fourth, Mikey Doble in fifth in the end. Sixth for Donovan Strauss, who's had a very, very good night, we've got to say. Neil Ferrier, a very impressive race 3 for him, 7th place. William Full has had a good, consistent night today, 8th for him. Lee Horn and Jamie Dory, the NXTGEN Racing cars, in 9th and 10th. Ian Crosby, a good comeback for him in that race, 11th for him. Gavin Allen, up 12 places to 12th. Jeff Perkis 13th with Ollie Peters in 14th. Blaze Crawford comes through in 15th. 16th, Matt Allen. Dave Whitehouse comes through 17th. 18th for Lawrence Stavey. And some laps down, Fielding, Cleland, Douglas, Thompson, Delaney and Callum Newsham. So there's Newshams on both ends of the table there. But your race winner, Dave Newsham. Well, thank you for joining us tonight for round 7. As we said, round 8 coming up next week in a week's time for the Oran Park round. See you then. Good night.